Well, ho ho ho, and Merry Christmas next week, and all those kinds of things. I'm enjoying a good old-fashioned mince pie, and I have to say this is probably the worst mince pie I've ever had. But, oh, that is nasty. Powdery and dry. We'll get those again. Anyway, we are not here to look at things that you shouldn't get again. We are in actual fact here to look at the top 10 items that I think, if you haven't yet bought your Game Master a gift, or your players, and you're desperately seeking them in these last few remaining days before Christmas happens, here is our top 10 cool things that we'd like to get for Christmas, or have already got for Christmas as a matter of fact, or planning on getting others for Christmas. Now it all starts off with a very, very simple little thing, and that is a battle map. Battle mats, like this one, are double-sided. You've got hexes on the one side, which is great for all of the Starfinder players, and you've got grids on the other, which is great for regular D&D players and players of anything that requires, well, a standard grid, or a hex, or a grid, or a hex. It's really two gifts in one. Now you can write on these with dry erase or wet erase markers, depending on the type of manufacture that you get, and they are really, really great for plotting out dungeons and battle sequences. And if you haven't got one, I suggest you go and get one. And just in case you were wondering where is the link that says you can get where you can go and get one of these from, head on over to our website www.greatgamemaster.com and you'll find a full Christmas list there with clickable links leading you straight to wherever it is that you can buy these things from. So Battle Mat is our number one item that we'd like to receive for Christmas. Following closely on its heels, but not too far behind, we quite enjoyed this little game, Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing. Now, this is just the rulebook. The models are all over the house, locked in glorious battle, but this is a wonderful, wonderful tactical game based on Dungeons & Dragons dragons, basically, as well as elves and lords and nobles and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. The idea is that your dragons fight against everybody else's dragons and everyone has a good time. The other useful thing is that all of the figurines can be used in your regular Dungeons & Dragons games. So we really like that as an optional intro point, not only for players into Dungeons & Dragons, but for all of the cool figurines and models that come with it. So that's item number 2. Following closely behind that, if you don't think that your GM appreciates combat, or you don't think that your players want yet another way for them to be slaughtered and eaten by dragons, you can always just buy them this cool dragon model. Now, dragon models never go amiss. In my house, there are dragon models everywhere. This particular line, which comes from the Dungeons & Dragons line, a blue dragon, you can pick up almost anywhere at ridiculously good prices. What I like about this one is it fits onto that grid, however, that we were talking about earlier. So you can use it in your actual games. Come on, who doesn't like a giant dragon model? They're always cool. Maybe, however, you don't want to go so literal. Maybe you want to keep it more in the realm of fun and fantasy. So, item number 4 is this. A tooth. This is a replica tooth which you can pick up online, or if you are lucky enough to live near one of America's great natural history museums, this is a cast of a T-Rex, a Tyrannosaurus Rex tooth. It's particularly huge. I mean, if it were to bite me through here, or it could be an orc tusk if you're one tooth. Anyway, the idea of having these kind of props, especially at the table, you can hold it up and say that bites into you, that rips into your flesh. Look at the size of that in comparison to your finger, for example, the thickness of it. This is a nice to have hands-on prop. And I like to have these, and you're going to see what's coming up next just to add testimony to that. So number 4 is this dragon tooth, or T-Rex tooth. We call it a dragon tooth. They're the same size, basically. So we really like teeth. What we also really like are eggs. This is a prop from the Game of Thrones movie. This is one of the dragon's eggs, and you can pick them up, again, quite readily all over the place, as a matter of fact. And again, what I like about it is if the GM says the trader offers you this very fine, very rare, ancient dragon egg. You take this, throw it in a fire with a sullied lady, and watch as the dragon emerges. Yours for only 5,000 gold pieces, 4,999 if you buy the camel. So again, props. I like props. Props that players can hold. Props that players can look at, can smell. It has absolutely no scent to it whatsoever. But you can touch it, you can hold it, you can see it, and you can get a sense of how big it is. If I said to you, how big is an ostrich egg? This is how big an ostrich egg is. As a matter of fact, this is actually a little bit bigger than an ostrich egg. But now I can feel it, I can hold it, I can touch it. So physical props are great Christmas ideas because everyone likes to touch stuff. So that's item number 5, an actual physical prop, a real dragon's egg. Now, if you're not into dragons, but maybe you're into skeletons, the undead, I found this online, and I'm going to get it once I've settled again in my new location. 101 skeletons. It is literally a bag of skeletons for very little money. What I like about lots of skeletons is that you can have those gigantic battles where you set up all these miniatures on that battle grid that you picked up. And you put on all of these skeletons and it's just visually so stunning. You don't have to spend days painting them all so they all look beautiful. You just pick up a couple, put them down, and there's suddenly a squad of 50 skeleton warriors that your players' characters can try and wade through. I absolutely love spectacle, and as item number 6, that to me is some spectacular spectacle. Next up, for those who have players or GMs who are a little bit older, perhaps more along my age, where the hair is, well, not so much thinning, but greying, and everything is just kind of falling apart, you can pick up these little guys. If you don't know who he is, don't bother. But if the sight of He-Man pulling a sword, holding aloft his mighty magical sword does something to you, you can pick these little guys up. They're beautiful production quality. I found mine in Walmart whilst I was wandering around deepest, darkest America. But I absolutely love He-Man and the Master of the Universe. It was really one of the original instigators that got me into Dungeons and Dragons. So when I have a look at that figurine and I see Skeletor and Beastman and Trapjaw sitting over there, they inspire me to try and come up with more interesting characters. And yes, one could break down the He-Man series as not being particularly deep, but in sheer quantity of stories, you cannot beat He-Man and the Master of the Universe. So item number 7, a nice little figurine for inspiration for your player or for your GM always goes a long way. Now the last 3 items that we have on our list are all fairly functional things and things that you should already have if you are an ardent gamer. But you never know. So item number 7 on our list, and I bet you can bet what it is. Dice. No player or GM on Earth has enough dice. You get them in all shapes and all sizes, all colours, all blends. You get metal ones, you get bone ones, you get stone ones, you get plastic ones, you get medium-sized ones, you get bigger-sized ones, you get necklaces made out of them for all those creators' sakes. So dice are never a bad thing to go with. And if you want lots of dice, well, on the website we've got a link to a bucket of dice. Buckets and buckets and buckets of dice. Can't go wrong with them. But if you feel that you want more than just a few dice, you can always go for something a bit more unusual. A squishy one. Foam dice are not particularly practical apart from stress relief, which often your players need or your GM needs. And the nice thing about it is that you can throw this at almost anyone and not have any kind of major consequence. It's not likely to hurt. It's just a soft, foamy thing. It's not very practical because they kind of bounce and roll around and they take forever to come to an end, unlike regular traditional dice. But it's always nice to be able to just kind of and not worry about the consequences. However, as our last item in our item number 10, sometimes dice size matters. And for that, and also glory and grandeur, for that, you have to turn to something like this. This is a truly spectacular D20. It's massive. It fits. I can't even make a complete fist around it. It is a spectacular testimony to this magic hobby of ours. If you can find a nice large dice that allows light to come through it so that you can see your fate, see your destiny unfolding in front of you as this thing tumbles and turns and thunders across the table until it ultimately comes up with its final number. So this, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of what you can give your players or your GMs, is the ultimate D20, the ultimate expression of our hobby. Well, what's on your Christmas list? What do you think is of value that other players or other gamers might be interested in getting? Well, there are only 4 or 5 days left until that magical 25th of December, so we don't have a lot of time. So if you have been, like me, every year, avoiding shopping, now's the time to get onto those lists and see exactly what you can pick up and what can be delivered in the next few days. But until then, I wish you and yours the merriest, the happiest, the most jovial, and of course, above all else, the best of role-playing Christmas holidays. And if you don't celebrate Christmas or you don't celebrate holidays, well, at least you celebrate role-playing. And if you don't celebrate role-playing, well, then I have no idea why you're watching this show. Until next time, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Give me your list of what you want to see underneath your Christmas tree. And until then, happy, happy, happy gaming.